This is good for me.
Okay.
So if you please could state your name and your occupation now, what you're doing.
All right. Timothy Tutwiler, and I'm a child care teacher.
Child care teacher.
Yes,
Do you like what you do?
of course. I mean, anything that's of service to the community, working with young children, is what I enjoy to do.
Okay. All right. My next question is, what were your years at Augsburg?
I was at Augsburg from the fall of '93 until the spring of '98.
Okay. And what was your overall experience?
My overall experience was one of getting to know people of all kind of different backgrounds, and it was enjoyable because of the people that were within my circle, and the things I learned about the city, through all the people that grew up in the Augsburg community area.
Um, so it was just coming in contact with people in those networks and the area.
Exactly.
What about the people was special at Augsburg?
The way they embraced me from day one, it wasn't like anybody had their nose high in the air or anything. Like from the very first day, I ran into one student that would, he would be my buddy through all my years there. His name was Chad Jackson. And the very first day, he's like, I'm walking through there, I'm depressed and everything because I'm coming from Texas. I don't have any friends. I don't know a soul within the Twin Cities. He says what's up to me, tells me come down to his room anytime, and especially that night they were going out on the city. So
did you go with them?
yes, ma'am.
How was it?
It was different. it wasn't the type of place I was used to going out to, but that I was out there and with other students and not alone in my room is what made that experience okay.
Okay. What activities were you involved in?
I would probably lose count of all the various activities I was involved in. My freshman year, I started in the fall volunteering at this program called Homework and Hoops, and that started out from the FYE group, and we went there, and I continued working through Homework and Hoops for the next 3 or 4 years. I played basketball, football, I did track, I gave tours for the admissions office. I also would call up prospective students. I went on recruiting visits through admissions through various Midwest cities. More worked in the pan-afrikan office. I was in Pan-African Student Union. I was also involved in this committee, the that would think up activities for the rest of the student population on campus.
Exactly.
ASAC, the name escapes me. That's all I can think of right now. More probably come to my mind while we talk.
Well, that's good. What did these activities do for you as with your transition into college?
Well, first, being involved in all these things, I got to know people and make friends is first what it did for me, coming from a different place and not knowing a soul within 900 miles of the campus, maybe even more. Second, they made me feel a part of something. And I needed that, so it made me feel that I was needed here in the Twin Cities and at that campus. And three, just, I don't know how I can explain this, just being able to as far as like my growth with you know, finding out all these things that were within me, like I did have a vocabulary, and these the people that I was hanging out with and in these activities with would challenge me to use my vocabulary. They would also challenge me to be nicer to people as far as the way I spoke and everything. That was a big part of my inner circle with members of the Pan-African Student Union, was their challenges of me to make myself better.
And you were able to do that.
Excuse me?
And you were able to do that.
Oh, yes. It would what we do is basically have contests, not contests we would sit up there and be like, okay, we're gonna see who has the largest vocabulary, but daily on a daily basis, be looking up words and then put them into our everyday vocabulary, so that when I had chances to speak publicly, I could bring out those words, and that was a part of them challenged me to use my vocabulary. Also, when meeting and coming into contact with people, being able to speak a little nicer and not so aggressive, so people weren't turned off with their first contact with me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Was there any opposition being a black student on campus for you?
Opposition, could you?
As far as any problems, any issues that you dealt with?
The very first issue that I dealt with as far as being a black student on campus was always, was I really a student at that campus, or was I just one of the neighborhood, I guess the neighborhood men just passing through that campus, maybe coming to get some water, or seeing, or maybe being a predator that came to prey on these college women because what they did was at 11 p.m., maybe earlier, maybe 10, around 10 or 11, they would shut the codes off for the dormitory doors, codes that we'd have to press in order to get into the dorms, and we would have to show our ID. So me, myself, Michael Morris, excuse me, Chad Jackson, we were passing through to go into Ernest, and all of us didn't have our IDs, so they didn't want to let us into the dorm, though we had to actually pull out and show that we had keys. So what we decided to do was stay outside the dorm and watch to see that security make every single person that passed through there show their IDs the way they made us. And ones that didn't show their ID, because we saw other white students passing through the security, hey, we'll wave at them and let them on into the dorm. But we sat there and we would stop them, and we would make sure security did their job and ask every single one of those students for their IDs. That was probably my very first experience as far as opposition to being a black student on campus. 2, probably they had quiet hours, but I think the quiet hours might have been for those that played the type of music that more of the white students liked on campus, because any time that they would hear the type of music I was playing, or any of my black counterparts, rap music or R&B, the RAs were quickly knocking on our doors, telling us we need to turn down that music. And sometimes even when there weren't quiet hours, they would be there knocking on our doors, asking us to turn down the music. Or if it got to a point where it seemed like they were even nitpicking as far as when we were within our dorm rooms, and every once in a while, between roommates, arguments and things are going to happen, or someone may laugh a little loud or whatever. So it may last maybe 30, 45 seconds, then it's over with. They're quickly at the door knocking. Hey, you're going to have to keep it down. Where just across the hall, you can hear somebody's TV or people talking or laughing and carrying on. And I think that that would cover, like, as far as my first year experience. And then there were ones I saw that, other students went through that I was trying to be supportive of, and that was when they had this, I guess, written or unwritten rule, wherever 3 or 4 more Augsburg students gather on campus or not is considered an Augsburg community.
3 or 4, you said?
Correct.
Okay.
And that means all campus rules apply to that area. No matter where you are, off campus or anywhere, that applies. And there were instances where there were, fights, and what would happen is with black students, they were always dealt with more harshly than the white students when they broke those campus rules within an Augsburg community. And what I found was, unless I played a detective and tried to find out exactly what punishments were handed down, that they would try to keep everything hush-hush when white students were involved. And when black students were involved, everyone always knew exactly what their punishment was.
Okay. Well, now about Pan-African. I know that there's, a lot of things that people go through on the Augsburg campus. What do you think Pastor did to help make it better or alleviate the pressure?
Well, my first year, what Pan-African Student Center did was it gave all us black students a place to hang out and come together and just talk and vent out whatever frustrations we were going through. And we were just, it was the only place where we could come together on campus, and we would see people that looked just like us, were talking just like us, and going through the same problems, even triumphs. So that's first what it provided. Second, it provided a mother and father for us, for the directors that were always in there to give us a shoulder to cry on and let us know that everything is going to be okay, and that students were going through the same thing we were going through now, before, and in the future would go through those same things.
Okay. So, what about who are the directors, or the director you're talking about?
Well, the director there for the entire time I was there she started out Anita Gay and became Anita Hawthorne, and her assistant director, right hand, whichever, was Mufundiji Joe Young. And Joe was always like a brother or father to us, whichever we needed at the time. If I came in talking about sports and everything that I can do on the court, Joe is a brother to me, talking about what he used to do and how he can still go out on the court and do it to me now. Or if I come in there in search of advice, him being older than me was able to sit down and give me his experience and what he thought about that situation. And Anita was my mother. She would always, as soon as I came in, ask me what's going on in my world. And everything always seemed to come down to relationships and what I was doing myself, as far as whatever situation I was involved in, whether it's something that I could have done or where I could have avoided the situation or perhaps have made it better. And Anita was also was probably my biggest supporter, and I probably was my biggest supporter on campus. Whatever meetings I had to go to or anything, she was always there to, no matter what she was doing, to drop everything and go down to a meeting. Or if I was having trouble with some faculty member, to go and talk to that faculty member, or either place a call and try to figure out what's going on. And even though I may have been wrong in some situations, she always made me feel like I was right. And was ready to support me either way.
Okay. So what do you think of PASU now? How can PASU continue the love and the support family environment?
It can continue it probably by doing the same things it's always done. It still has the same people in place to continue the tradition that have been there, as far as the programming with the poetry sessions that invite all different kind of poets, from the students to ones within the surrounding campus community, and also throughout the Twin Cities. Continue it through the what's that program called? Oh, help me here. The mentor program, which invites not only alums but also friends of the Augsburg community to help students within their different majors gain experience, not only life experience but job experience as well. Continue through the different dinners and volunteer opportunities that it's always had. The job opportunities for the new students coming in, so that they can see what PASU has done in the past through all the programs and the pictures that are available that they can ask about whenever some of the old schoolers are there. Just continuing in doing the same things as always done is how.
Okay. What advice could you give to current students and incoming students?
What advice? The first thing I would tell them is get involved in something on the campus, anything. Whether it be sports, some of the different committees, just get involved in something. Even a work-study job is somehow getting yourself involved within the campus community. 2, soak up all the love you can from the Pan-African Student Services Office. There's always been good people in there that can give you advice, help you through the different problems you're having, or either be there to, give you an ear about, your triumphs. 3, get to know as many different people of different backgrounds as you can, because you're coming to Augsburg, and diversity is its goal. If you didn't want a diverse school, you wouldn't have chose Augsburg. You could go anywhere else to be with people that are exactly like you, as far as want the same things, come from the same places, and do the same things that you do. Those are the 3 basic things I would tell an incoming student.
Okay. Well, those are all the questions I have.
Okay.
I don't know if you have anything else to add, but that's all that I have.
I'll add this. I'm glad you the Pan-African Student Services Office, what it's done for me as far as the position that I'm in now is within that office, we always talked about being of service to the community. And no matter, what you were doing, you could find a way to be of service to the community. And I took that and I ran away with that, being involved in, I've been involved in 5 different organizations as far as working with children ranging from ages 2 to 16. And no matter what, my educational goal was to, always be of service to the community through whatever education I received. Another thing, what it did for me was, as far as when choosing the career I was going to get involved in, Anita always told me that, it's fine to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but to be happy and for it to be worthwhile with what I'm doing, because all the money in the world can't buy me happiness in the career I choose. Another thing, what I learned from being in there with Anita, because I worked with her by her side for about 5 years in that office, was I learned a great deal about relationships and myself. that, and the biggest thing I took away from her as far as my relationships was that I needed to work on myself and make sure that what I brought to the relationship was just as much as what I asked for, instead of being so concerned with what this other person is doing and what they're bringing, what am I doing and what am I bringing to that relationship, and is it just as much as what I'm asking for. And that may be it.
Okay. Okay. Well, let it stop there then.